今天是12月4号，华为 Mate 70系列全系。
Today is December 4th, the first day of the full Huawei Mate 70 series sale. To my fellow industry colleagues and phone shop owners, how are your sales? This year, our Mate 70 series sales can be described as extremely bleak.
At the recent press conference, Chinese technology company Huawei claimed that the Mate 70 was the most powerful Mate phone. However, not only analysts and consumers expressed doubts, but Huawei's distributors also came out to reveal the harsh truth, which Huawei immediately moved to silence. On December 4th this year, a retailer named Liang Ge from Shenyang revealed that his store's Huawei Mate 70 series sales were extremely poor. Liang Ge believed the reason was that ordinary people simply don't have the money, and Huawei's patriotic sentiment is gradually being exhausted in the market. Liang Ge said that whether looking at newly devices or the number of Mate 70 phones getting screen protectors at his store, the difference compared to last year's Mate 60 series launch is like heaven and earth. This year's bleak sales have also resulted in an overall price depression. On the day the in-store Mate 70 standard version was released, it was immediately discounted, selling 500 yuan cheaper than the official price. The Mate 70 Pro had a slight markup, with current stock available for about 400 to 500 yuan over the official price. The 70 Pro was basically at the official price, with the most markup being the Mate 70 Nonpareil Master Edition, which was 1,500 to 12,000 yuan more expensive than the official price. He analyzed the reasons for such poor sales and lukewarm reception of Huawei's new product. The first point is that ordinary people truly have no money. Consumer spending is declining overall, and consumers have realized that it's just a phone and there's no need to spend extra money. The second point is that people are getting tired of Huawei's so-called patriotic sentiment. Liang Ge said everyone jokes when buying a Huawei phone. Half the price goes to the country, to so-called patriotism. This statement is not without reason. Now, the general public has also come to understand that they can't keep spending high prices on low-configuration phones every year. The third point is that Huawei's attempt to go high-end is not working. Phones are not like jewelry, watches, liquor, or clothing. Phones are used every day. The three core components of a phone are, first, the processor, second, the camera, third, the screen. However, Huawei has no advantage in these three areas, and their technology is even from 3 years ago. Compared to the top configurations of other phone brands, it can be said to be unimpressive. Consumers have also come to understand this. High-priced, low-configuration products do not provide a good daily user experience. Moreover, Huawei phones are indeed not very value-retentive. Having been in the phone industry for over a decade, Huawei's new products each year end up having the lowest value retention among all brands. Liang Ge said these three reasons have led to the extremely bleak release of Huawei's new products this year.
竟然会被华为这么大的一个公司给盯上了。
The next day, Liang Ge made another video saying that the previous video about the unsatisfactory sales supposedly alarmed Huawei's top management. Eventually, Huawei's leadership demanded that distributors at all levels stop supplying him. Huawei's lawyers also contacted him, requesting the removal of related videos. He said he had no choice but to cooperate and had to delete the videos. Regarding this, netizens said, "I'd rather be accused of being unpatriotic. I will refuse to use Huawei, and I won't change my view for 50 years. Huawei is garbage, afraid of people telling the truth." This year's products are indeed not very good. I mainly dislike the number of ads in the device. The browser opens full of ads. The address bar automatically turns into an ad search. It's ridiculous. There were long lines at the store, but the actual sales are probably just tens of thousands of units. Who knows if any of these figures are true? Huawei phone sales are only 10 million units per quarter, about 40 million units per year. This Mate launch supposedly exceeding 10 million units is really an exaggeration. On X, Chinese netizens said, "It's not about money with Huawei. Even if they gave me money, I wouldn't want it. Anyone with basic digital knowledge knows that Huawei's entire product line focuses on monitoring and surveillance. Using Huawei means all data and information security vanishes instantly. High price and low configuration is a small issue. Personal safety is a big issue. Can't be careless about that. With half the price of a Huawei, you can buy a very good Pixel. I don't understand why someone would want to be monitored. Huawei does whatever they want. Just switched to an iPhone 16 Pro Max. Voting with my feet. Huawei can bully consumers, and now it's bullying retailers too. Looks like they'll only be able to sell goods in the supply and marketing cooperative system in the future. Swept up in nationalism, surviving by sales from nationalistic youth, how far can they really go? Another netizen said, this Huawei retailer's experience is the same as countries participating in the Belt and Road Initiative. Huawei's methods are the Communist Party's methods. Once you're on the pirate ship, it's hard to get off. On December 6th, blogger Lao Yao posted a video saying,
The sky is falling. Huawei's first sales day was a massive cold reception. If even a brand like Huawei can't sell now, how can our phone industry survive? Compared to last year's Mate 60 launch, when there were crowds queuing and many scalpers, and even the recent September iPhone 16 launch, where authorized stores had tons of scalpers, some even bringing 2 million cash to buy devices, this year's Mate 70 launch basically had no crowds, right? No scalpers are coming to buy, which represents the market's poor expectations for this device.
However, on December 5th, a Sina Media report claimed that the Mate 70 series launch triggered a nationwide purchasing wave, with people queuing at many Huawei stores. It noted that within an hour of pre-orders opening on November 18th, over 1 million units were reserved. The report emphasized that the Mate 70 series was incredibly powerful. At the November 26th Mate 70 series launch, Huawei Consumer Business CEO Yu Chengdong described it as the strongest Mate phone in history, but did not provide any chip specifications or manufacturing process details. The launch focused on their self-developed mobile operating system, Harmony OS Next, and the phone's AI capabilities. Although the launch didn't reveal much chip information, multiple institutions and tech influencers pointed out that the standard Mate 70 uses the older Kirin 9010 chip, while the Mate 70 Pro, Pro Plus, and RS all feature the new Kirin 9020 chip. Some users noted that Huawei's processor performance lags behind Apple's A-series, Qualcomm Snapdragon flagships, and Dimensity flagships. In the competitive smartphone market, whether the Mate 70 series can lead China's phone market remains questionable. Bloomberg previously reported that Huawei's latest chips still remain stuck at the old 7nm architecture until at least 2026. By then, TSMC will begin producing 2nm chips, meaning Huawei's chips will be 3 generations behind. American investment bank Jefferies issued a report on November 28th suggesting that the newly launched Mate 70 sales in China are not ideal, with online comments showing significantly reduced enthusiasm. The tech financial website IT Times argued that when users consider purchasing the Mate 70, they'll primarily compare its price to the iPhone 16, and patriotic sentiment can hardly motivate most users to buy. A P60 phone user said that while originally planning to upgrade after the Mate 70 launch, when they received a 200 yuan reservation message, they hesitated. They said, this year, many domestic machines have added AI features with many choices. Compared to that, Huawei's price-performance ratio is worth reconsidering. Another netizen said, with Huawei now taking a high-end route, I can only choose Xiaomi. If I make money, I'll buy Apple. Huawei has long been controversial due to its close relationships with the Chinese Communist Party. On November 29th, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology released a work update, stating they had organized model approval as required, supporting the Mate series phone's smooth market entry. Netizens commented, the ministry's support for Mate 70 is a bit outrageous, and that the ministry has never before released such a work update for a single smartphone series. Last year, when Huawei released the Mate 60, Beijing ordered government and civil servants to ban Apple phones, causing Apple's iPhone sales to drop 9% in the fourth quarter of 2023, while Huawei sales grew by 71%. As China's leading domestic chip enterprise, Huawei periodically launches so-called domestic brands as a political task and propaganda tool. However, each time triggers further U.S. sanctions, making Huawei's path increasingly narrow. In June last year, Huawei launched the Mate 60 Pro flagship phone, claiming to use a 70nm self-produced 9000S chip. This move intensified U.S. sanctions, and shortly after, the United States and the Netherlands restricted exports of older deep ultraviolet lithography machines, which use multiple exposures to achieve advanced process capabilities. In June this year, Huawei announced the availability of sample processors for the Ascend 910C, which compares to NVIDIA's H100 AI chip. In October, after Huawei's accelerator Ascend 910B was discovered using TSMC's 7nm chips, the U.S. Department of Commerce ordered TSMC to stop selling nanometer and more advanced process chips to mainland Chinese consumers on November 11th. 2 days later, the U.S. required Samsung, Intel, and others to comply similarly. Samsung's proportion of Chinese clients using processes below 7 nanometers is notably higher than TSMC's at about 30%. Huawei's phone security issues have also frequently been exposed by netizens. On November 12th this year, a netizen from Changchun claimed that while using a VPN on a Huawei phone, they were detected by the Public Security Bureau and fined 600 yuan. In June 2021, a Chinese netizen said that after upgrading to Harmony OS 2.0, apps for circumventing internet restrictions would be effectively identified, with police notifying immediate deletion. Moreover, the patriotic sentiment of domestic phones like Huawei is forced on people. On November 27th, a woman from Henan stated that her Huawei phone's AI could not remove the Communist Party's 5-star flag from a photo, with a prompt saying the removal function cannot be used on this image. Netizens in the comments noted that Xiaomi and Oppo also cannot remove the CCP's red flag from photos. Regarding the decline of consumer enthusiasm, the main reason is consumer downgrading. Recently, multiple Chinese industries have been sluggish, factories are closing, and unemployment is increasing. China's poor economic situation is becoming increasingly difficult to conceal. In October, multiple provinces released GDP data for the third quarter. These reports mentioned pressure on residents' incomes. Some outspoken Chinese scholars have pointed out various issues. According to official Chinese media Economic Observer, Li Shi, director of Zhejiang University's Sharing and Development Research Institute, estimated that currently about 65% of China's total population have not reached middle income standards. Li pointed out that these 9 million people's incomes also show significant disparities, with some groups' incomes approaching middle-income levels, while others remain in relative poverty. Li's statement echoes former Premier Li Keqiang's 2020 press conference, where he said that 600 million people have a monthly income of only about $135. The National Bureau of Statistics subsequently responded that this data reflects China's basic national conditions. Overseas, Li Shi's data sparked discussion. Li Shi and Li Keqiang speaking the truth, revealing the real situation, not afraid of embarrassing Xi Jinping. This is conservative. It's not relative poverty, but extreme poverty. Academic research should be open and transparent, not hiding things. These numbers have already been beautified, right? Poverty alleviation has also ended in failure. Isn't this a slap in the face for Xi Jinping regarding his claim of a comprehensive, well-off society? Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping had claimed in 2021 that the entire country had eliminated poverty. Fang Chengyan of Taiwan's Institute for National Defense and Security Research stated that the CCP's claim of successful poverty alleviation is merely rhetoric. She suggested Xi Jinping wants to maintain stability, so he set a standard and declared poverty elimination. But this doesn't reflect reality. She provided an example of China's youth unemployment rate, which was so high that the authorities stopped publishing data and eventually adopted a new standard considered to yield a better number. While the estimate of 900 million poor may not be entirely accurate, more people are agreeing with Fang that poverty in China is increasing. Recently, two Chinese scholars, Fu Peng and Gao Shanwen, directly pointed out economic severity in their speeches, which went viral online. However, their lecture transcripts quickly disappeared from China's strictly controlled internet. Both had their WeChat and short video social media accounts blocked. Gao Shanwen, chief economist at China Investment Securities, summarized post-pandemic Chinese society in 3 sentences: vibrant elderly, lifeless young people, and middle-aged people with no will to live. He also estimated that GDP might have been overestimated by 10 percentage points over the past 3 years. Northeast Securities chief economist Fu Peng said that China's economic problems are far more serious than they appear on the surface. The core issue is insufficient effective consumption. The decline in consumption capacity is not a short-term phenomenon, but a structural transformation. The biggest current challenge is the dramatic shrinking of the middle class. The fact that these two economists got blocked on social media might be related to CCP leader Xi Jinping and the Propaganda Bureau. Together, they have repeatedly emphasized economic optimism. Over the past year, many Chinese economists have been silenced for expressing opinions that don't align with official narratives. Current affairs commentator Wang Jian stated that China's economic difficulties are well known, and scholars can no longer cooperate with official economic cheerleading. Silencing truth-telling scholars will only lead to the silencing of experts, making it harder for the public to know the truth. Social media personality Gong Zishen noted that the banned experts' opinions weren't politically sensitive, but were still deleted and silenced. This reflects the authorities' unease about the current social situation and the regime's fragility, fearing any speech might impact regime security. China issues expert Yue Shan stated that Huawei, viewed by the CCP as a national symbol, uses political correctness to suppress distributors and ordinary netizens. The case of Huawei distributor Liang Ge, who told the truth and was threatened to delete his videos, shows Huawei's attitude is just like the CCP's.